Alright, it says that it's streaming. Do you see anything?
Still nothing, just the OBS logo.
Hmm. Bu- Hmm. That's weird. It says. That's weird because it says it's live, but. Let me see. That's weird. Okay, so the stream itself is actually going, but the actual, like, stream for this thing. Hold on. Man.
Da 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 da.
Hmm. Oh, perfect. Okay, it should pop up for you now. You see it?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. All right, hey guys, welcome to the Thieves Den Storytime podcast. It is me and my friend Ty.
Now
Say
I see
hello.
it.
Okay, you can see it moving and stuff. That's good. As long as you can actually see it, that's what really matters. Hello. Whoops, did I hit the wrong button? My bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, it said you were muted for a second.
I was muted.
Oh,
I'm fine now.
so we were
No,
just
no.
gonna have a short discussion before I went to work later, just about like fantasy games and the such, because I don't know. I think it's because of Dragon's Dogma 2 coming out, and then we also got the Final Fantasy that came out, and then what was the new game you were telling me? Stellar Blade, right? Or was that more
Yeah,
sci-fi?
I think Stellar Blade is kind of more sci-fi from what I've seen of it.
Fair enough. But what like when people think of fantasy, they always think of like medieval stuff, right? And the
I
such.
would, yeah, like medieval stuff, pretty much. Like fairies and magic.
And see, that's the thing. Because fantasy, I always assume I never really associated it with medieval. I mean, that's usually what it is, but it's the same thing with like science fiction in the sense of like I always looked at fantasy as like the imagination, so to speak, things that you cannot possibly fathom on Earth, typically, like the very concept of magic itself, or things like that. Because even stuff when it's like, okay, even science fiction is still fiction. So it's like, okay, xenomorphs, aliens, Star Wars, so on and so forth is considered sci-fi, but it's basically just its own version of like fantasy. It's like it's space fantasy, basically.
Yeah.
And I started thinking about all these games and stuff, and I'm just kind of like, okay, because I want to try Baldur's Gate 3 because I heard that one was really good. I want to play Dragon's Dogma. Like, there's a lot of fantasy games I want to mess around with. And all of them have such intricate lore behind them. They're all very in depth, deep, and so forth. Also, can you see my screen right now?
I can, yeah.
Okay, so you see the guy by the campfire.
Yeah, in
That,
OBS.
yeah, that's one of my That's my Dragon Age character from Inquisition, I believe.
Hmm.
And I really do enjoy that game. Not as much as Origins, but that might just be my nostalgia talking. But some of these old fantasy
Yeah.
games are just really cool because some of them could be like, okay, there's dwarves, there's elves, there's so on and so forth with them. But then other ones are kind of just like, oh yeah, like they all have very specific names and lore and backstories and whatnot. And while some games do have that and they have a good way of explaining it and everything, sometimes it's just like, you know, it takes a lot of creativity and a lot of time to make a world, for instance, if that makes sense. To craft a universe with its own lore, its own rules, its own backstory, so on and so forth. There's a lot of discussion that has to go into it, or at least a lot of thinking and planning, because there's
Yeah,
layers upon layers of questions and things that people will try to like ask, like, well, how does this work? Well, what about this, that, and the other, and so on and so forth. That's why I never liked watching versus battle, or not watching versus battles, but looking at versus discussions,
yeah,
because everything is different. Like when people go like, "Oh, who could win, Goku or Naruto?" It's like, well, does Ki work the same way as chakra? Or does Nin look the same as like the Devil Fruits or so on and so forth? Like all these other universes and power scalings and whatnot. And granted, yeah, for their world or for the things that they're in, it's like, yeah, they're very good, they're very strong or whatnot, but it's like, does it translate the same way? Because, for instance, magic in Dragon Ball Z is a real thing, but so is, chakra in a sense, or ki. They're based on like different beliefs and whatnot, but they function somewhat similarly.
yeah. True. Yeah, like
Yeah, because what is it? In Naruto, you can use chakra to amplify your strikes and your movements and everything like that, and
yeah.
embolden your body so you can take bigger hits. That's why
So
they
you
don't
could
get
take
people
bigger
get hit
hits.
with fireballs. They don't get incinerated.
Yeah,
You can do,
kind of,
yeah,
because yeah,
like they were just talking over each other.
exactly. It's insane.
But then also like, yeah, that's also why like same thing with Dragon Ball Z. It's the exact same concept.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I would say in DBZ, Key is Key is like I would say way more in depth than well, I wouldn't say it's way more in depth than Chakra, but it's kind of just a stronger concept than Chakra is. Friggin' Key, Key is he can do way more.
Well, the thing is,
It
I think chakra is more malleable, but ki is more destructive. But again, that still also depends on the user. Like someone that has low chakra pulls can't really do all that much versus someone that has high chakra pulls that can like, summon meteors. That has low key abilities or like a low power level, for instance, like someone like Videl. She can fly, she can technically shoot energy beams, but they're not very good. Against someone obviously like Goku who could nuke planets very easily.
yeah.
And again, that's where my suspension of disbelief goes away after a while, because I'm just sitting there thinking, like, you mean to tell me you're this strong now, you can fight gods and everything, but you mean to tell me you can fight on Earth, going almost all out and then not blow up the planet? I was like, that's ridiculous.
Because it's well, you it's yeah, because Earth has plot armor just like Goku does. It can't get destroyed yet.
No, no, no. Bulma made a wish at one point to make the
Make
make Earth ten
yeah,
times more durable. She just never told
or
anybody.
or you got to remember in Resurrection F and then that that season of Super where because they're both pretty much the goddamn same. I hate that Frieza blew up the Earth, and then fucking he just goes looks over to Whis, and Whis is like, "Oh yeah, I'll give you a do over," and he basically just reverses time and brings the Earth back, where Goku just freaking just destroys Frieza before he could do whatever.
I will never get over that because don't get me wrong, I like Goku, but as a Vegeta fan especially, I was sitting there thinking like this was the perfect time to give Vegeta his run back and his win against Frieza. All you had to do was have Goku just say something like, Vegeta, don't let him hit the Earth. And then Vegeta would have been like, okay, or he would have been like, stay out of it, Kakarot, and then like would have like could have just made him like finish off Frieza himself. But no, they had to give the win to Goku, and everyone got so pissed off at that. It's like, really, this is the perfect moment for him. You give him one scene of whooping Frieza, and then dying, and then coming back, and then still giving the victory to Goku. This was the perfect time to do that, and y'all fumbled it.
Yeah, because Goku is the Golden Boy at the time. This is one of the reasons why a lot of people didn't like Dragon Ball Super. It's mainly because of that. Goku. It's either Goku or nobody. It's either Goku or Vegeta. And
Well,
then
even
everyone
there,
was like,
no,
"Oh,
Vegeta will get moments here and there, but they don't amount to anything. Like even like when he was in the tournament of power, it's like okay, he beat Topo by doing the final explosion, which I still think is stupid because the final explosion should have been final. That's like his Hail Mary last ditch effort. This is all or nothing. I'm gonna use all of my energy, including my life force, to to blow up and just take whoever's out in front of me with me. But then he does it in the show. He's like, "You really think I'd be so stupid to blow myself up twice?" It's like, yes, that was the point. You were trying to wipe out this energy that is a god of destruction energy that can straight up erase people. It's like you kind of wanted, like, if we thought you were doing this again, yeah, we thought like, all right, well, Vegeta's dead. Which, yeah,
exactly."
then you knew they weren't gonna commit to that. And then
Or
also
as
was
soon
it
as
when he fights Jiren and he hits him with the final flash? Everyone's like, "Oh wow, Jiren actually had to block it because it was a really good attack," and it floored him. And then Jiren immediately gets back up and gut checks him. It's like, yeah, because again, they give him moments of doing stuff, but they never let him win anything, or at least nothing official. Because even with Topo, it's like they could have just put anyone else on there and be like, "Nah, 17's got this," or like 17 and Frieza can get him out of some random nonsense like that. But even then, it's just kind of like because even Vegeta's form is just like he has Super Saiyan Blue evolved. That puts him up there with Kaioken and Goku now. It's like it's just a slightly shinier version of Super Saiyan Blue. And even the games are like, yeah, this form is completely unique to you and you alone. And then Xenoverse immediately goes, hey, by the way, here's some Super Saiyan Blue Evolved DLC so your characters can do it too. It's like, god damn it.
oh yeah,
Even
like
Beast Gohan, they were like, oh yeah, you can also go Beast now. Goku has Ultra Instinct. Oh, well, so do you now. Which I'll give Ultra Instinct a pass. But Beast Gohan, I'm like, no. Because even then, that one was kind of an asshole.
yeah, it was. And then you, oh yeah, did you hear? Speaking of which, I know you hear that they're actually planning on more. They're planning on more content for Xenoverse 2.
Oh yeah, I saw it. They showed like everyone thought it was like Ultra Ego Vegeta, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's like an evil version of Super Saiyan God, which I'm just kind of like, it looks cool at least, but at the same time, I'm just sitting there thinking like, like,
I honestly wouldn't mind that in this. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of weird.
well, my thing is like, I feel like Xenoverse only has so many options. Really, it's kind of just like, because again, how many
Oh
times can
yeah,
you retell the same story over and over again before people kind of go like, look, we get it, like this is the Sand Saga, this is the Boo Saga, this is and now it's like
don't
okay,
worry,
this is the God Destruction Saga. This is
don't worry,
and the
don't
thing
worry.
is they always just because again I that's why I like the first game when it came to like Xenoverse's story, not because it was just a unique-ish concept and this is the first time we see Toa and Mira, but because they had some cool ideas like when you transform, you stay transformed. Now, granted, it was only for Sans really, but like your hair would still stay and everything. I was like, yeah, that was a cool concept. And vice versa. It's like okay, or for instance, Kaioken wasn't just a Kaioken was its own thing. So I was like, okay, cool, you can do that too. And then it was like the story itself was like, okay, you're dealing with a different villain this time. You're dealing with Demigod. He can possess people, turn them evil, and you can fight versions of them because they had some really cool looking designs, especially for Trunks. And Trunks was actually more useful in the first story for the game than he was in the second. The second game, he didn't really do anything. Like he had that moment with Future Gohan, but even then, it was just kind of like glossed over afterwards. Because in the first game, he was actually with you fighting. Like he helps you fight Cell, helps you fight like Demigod, helps you fight Mira, helps you fight what's his face
And
uh
it's like,
Beerus and Whis, and he actually transforms and he fights in that game. And I'm like, okay, respect Trunks. Because the second game they just made him too goofy, and I'm like, I don't really care.
yeah. I was about to say the only reason I like the second game a little bit more is because of the fighting. It's because of
No,
the
no, the
fights.
fighting in the second game is a lot better. It's more refined than the first game
Yeah,
because the
it's
first game
more
was kind of
refined.
cheap. Because especially if you were
Yeah,
saying if you transformed, you got infinite key. Yeah, gradually drained, but you could spam super attacks all day.
yeah. And then, but then, like I said, like or like you said, in the second game, they started adding all of these goofy transformations, like Blue, like God. Freaking, they had different forms of Super Saiyan.
Well, no, we'll get to
Like,
that. That pissed me off so much because I was just sitting there like, okay, this is Super Saiyan, which is like Goku's thing. All right, cool. All right, this is Super Vegeta. It's Super Saiyan, but it's Vegeta's thing, and it's like your Ki Blast do more. I'm like, okay. And they actually had the cool concept too, where it's like if you have a certain master and you do their move, you see their spirit next to you, which is basically like doing a crit. So you basically your attacks
uh,
did more damage. Then after that, it was like, okay,
then
well, now what? It's like, oh, well, now here's
future,
future Super
future
Saiyan,
Super Saiyan.
which is basically future Gohan's version of Super Saiyan where you transform. And they still don't give him the one arm, which pisses me off. And then at the same time, it's like, oh, okay, well, what else is there? What is Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue Evolved? I'm surprised we didn't get Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken just to
No,
complete the set.
no, everybody no, everybody wants Super Saiyan 4 so bad.
Well, my thing is like,
And it's
how would
like,
that even look for certain
that's
characters?
that's the thing. And even some of my friends are like, "Oh man, where are they gonna add Super Saiyan 4? They should be added in there, bro." You know how drastic a change Super Saiyan 4 is. You know how that looks. You know they're gonna have to put hair. All gonna make. They pretty much gonna have to turn the Saiyans into monkeys. Like you
Well,
gotta remember that.
Well, see, that's the problem too, because technically they could do something like, oh, we can add great apes, make it like the Namekian thing, and just turn them into a big ass generic ape or something. Or you can be like, all right, well, for Super Saiyan 4, give them the upper body and the tail. And then I was like, okay, well, what if they're different skin colors? What if their hair is a different color? What if this and it? There's so much they have to incorporate into it that they can't reasonably do it. And then you already know if whatever they do, people are going to complain about it because it's going to be like, oh, well, it's not as good as this random mod that someone made that took a lot of time and effort that they solely focused their time into in the making. Or it's going to be like, oh, okay, well, here's this, and or they go like, well, how come we get Ultra Instinct, but we don't get like this, or this? How come we don't get Ultra Ego? How come we don't get this, and this? It's like anything that hasn't been animated yet, you're not going to get. Or it'd be like, okay, how come we
Exactly.
get like full power Jiren, but we don't get transforming full power Jiren? It's like, how would that work? Or it's like, okay, how can we get Super Saiyan Broly, but we don't get his base form or his Wrath form or this, and this? I'm like, first of all, his Wrath form wouldn't fight all that different from his like Super Saiyan form, and then his base form, we don't ever see him fight like that in the base form. All he does is throw hands with Vegeta for a little bit and do a few things. Like, yeah, you can make something out of it. Like Legends did some stuff kind of, and Dokkan Battle made some stuff. So it's like, okay, it's not impossible. But again, it's like at that point, it's just a weaker version of Broly. It's pseudo Broly. It's like not really there. That's like saying like, how come we don't get false Super Saiyan from the Lord Slug movie? It's like because it's basically just base Goku with a golden aura, and he doesn't do any unique moves or anything. There'd be no point in adding it, or even putting it in the game because again, there's no point.
Hmm.
Like, oh, you got Frieza. How come we don't get Mecha Frieza? It's like because it's still just Frieza, but with a different skin. Yeah, they could put it in there, but realistically, there'd be no actual point. How come we don't get a transforming Frieza? It's like because they don't even because they're not gonna do that. His most iconic forms are the first one, the final one, and if I guess if you're younger, the golden one. And they're not gonna do that because there's no point. Also, that would take a long ass time, especially just in general, just to get that going. I like that we were supposed to be talking about Fantasy Seven. We just randomly ended up talking about fucking Dragon Ball Xenoverse.
What what did I tell you, dog? What did I tell you before we started this? We were gonna go off topic.
It's fine. Worst case scenario, I'll just change it. I'll just change the title to Xenoverse or something.
Yeah, because I knew it was gonna happen.
I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Because in adding off to the whole thing where you're talking about, they're probably gonna end up change or probably gonna end up doing the same old retelling of Dragon Ball story. Just wait until fucking Sparking Zero comes out. You know they're gonna have unless they make like an original story mode like what they did with Fighters. I guarantee you they're gonna have it. I
Well, that's the
guarantee
thing.
you they're gonna have it.
Even
Yeah.
even the fighter story was kind of just like it was new-ish, but sure, it was like man. because
It was
the
very
whole point of it
unnecessary.
was like, okay, Android 21 is going to be the villain, like, which I mean everyone kind of figured out when they saw the trailer. It's like, yeah, she's the evil one. I'm really annoyed we don't get to see the good version of her in like the versus mode, because I was really hoping we could unlock her when you beat the story, but that never happened. And don't get me wrong, the story itself is fine for what it is, like, but at the same time, it's still just kind of like a random fighting game story. I'm not expecting top tier content. Like, yeah, you get some nice little fan servicey moments of like characters interacting for the first time, or talking, or seeing each other's new forms and abilities or whatnot. But then it's also kind of just like, I don't really like. I'm just here for the gameplay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because the game itself is still inconsequential. It's like you get three different stories which all correlate to the same boss fight at the end. And even then, it was kind of just like, it did have a unique concept, which was, oh yeah, these little wave things make everyone's power roughly the same. So everyone's basically nerfed right now. So you need this random avatar, you, to like help everyone fight, which I'm like, okay, that's cool. So everyone can be relevant. So it's not just Goku and Vegeta and maybe Gohan doing stuff for everyone. And then it's like,
exactly.
yeah, and then it's like, okay, then it's like you have to find and recruit all the fighters you want to use, and then you can mess around with that for a little bit, which is cool. But obviously, certain characters is like, well, how come Beerus isn't in the game? It's like, well, he's a god. It doesn't affect him. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, how come he's not helping them? He's like, because he doesn't give a shit. It's like, fair enough, fair enough.
Uh,
He's like, you're on your own. That was also the funniest thing too, because like even when you meet 21, she's like, "Yeah, I'm technically 13 years old," and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" Everyone there that likes her is like a child predator or something. It's like, no, no, her android form is only 13 years old. Technically, she was a full-grown woman, had a kid and everything. Like that much was established. Like her android Majin-ish body, which I still don't know how she got that, is like its own thing, sure, but like she's still a full grown woman. That's not a like I was like, God, people are weird.
the people are extremely weird, especially when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah. But again, the gameplay is solid. A lot of people really liked it. And again, if they ever make a Fighters 2, which I'm hoping for at some point, they gotta incorporate some people. I want future Gohan. I'll settle if they don't have PyCon or Kaba, even though I would like one of them. And then like again, I want some more movie villains. I want to see BoJack. I want to see Turles. Like, I don't really give a shit about
Uh,
Fuse Zamasu or Goku Black. I can do without either one of them.
I
Preferably,
I guarantee you though, I guarantee you that they're gonna be in. I guarantee you that they're gonna be in Sparking Zero.
that's
Like I
that's
feel,
fine.
but you know for a fact, since this game is literally gonna be a Tenkaichi game, they're gonna have to add goddamn everybody in there.
Oh yeah, no, I already know it too, because people were complaining when Budokai Tenkaichi 3 had. They were like, "Oh, this game has everyone," but it's like, yeah, but they all just have like the same generic-ish blast or moveset,
Yeah,
like full power
yeah,
energy
bro.
wave. Ooh, how
Yeah,
interesting.
full. Yeah, the same combo. They do the same combo. They do the same full
Yeah,
power.
because even Xenoverse, for instance, it has full power energy wave, full power energy blast volley. But then at the same time, they lump a lot of those characters together within the same thing. Like these are all of Frieza's soldiers. We don't need five different slots for them. They're all in one spot here, which is what bothered me when I saw the roster listing for Xenoverse, not Xenoverse, Sparking Zero, because it was like it showed the base form of a character, then it would branch off to the side and show like Super Saiyan, Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3 as like their own slots for characters. So I'm like, okay, that's a bit different from the old games, because the old games used to let you transform into them, which you could still do, I'm guessing. But at the same time, it would be like, okay, I guess that's the character slot they're talking about. But if they get rid of some of the fluff, I'm not gonna be like, oh no, they got rid of like Gooply or whatever. I'm like, I don't want to give a shit. I'll live.
That would be hilarious.
Dragon Ball Legends just released Farmer with Shotgun as an actual character, and he's evil, and it's fucking hilarious. Like I'm not making that up.
It's a funny. I think I saw you share that just now.
It's so stupid. But I do like that Legends and like occasionally Dokkan are just making custom units just to like why not?
Oh
Because
my
some of them are
god.
funny, some of them are cool, some of them are like what if units. Like, hey, what if this character and this character were together? I'm like, oh, that's so cool. I never would have thought about that till I saw it.
Oh yeah, did you hear about the whole thing with Tekken and fans wanting them to add Waffle House in
What exactly is the point of the Waffle House? Is there something I'm missing? Because I never.
No, people are just wait. Like you don't know the lore of Waffle House.
No, I do not. Please explain the lore to me.
Yes, basically the thing about Waffle House is Waffle House is notorious for a lot of excursions.
Just random fights breaking out.
Yeah, and some of them involving staff. So
Damn.
and Waffle House is known to be extremely extremely known for that. And people are saying that Waffle House should be in Tekken, and I'm just like, and fucking Harada is like,
He's like,
oh
I'll
well,
humor this.
no, he's actually like, oh okay, you know what? Since the fans want it, we're gonna reach out to Waffle House HQ and see what they say.
That's so stupid. But I kind of want that. I want there to be a legit, like the next time we play Tekken together, I want to walk in and like, I don't know, you'll be like whoever you're picking. We have like a special match intro or something, and it's just inside of an actual Waffle House,
Yeah,
like this super serious moment. And then, by the way, welcome to Waffle House.
it'd be funny. It'd be funny if Waffle House actually showed up in the game.
Now I do
That'd be
love. Oh, sorry, what?
No, I was about to say if Waffle House actually shows up in the game, then all I gotta say is that's probably gonna be some top tier promotion right there.
Oh,
That's
no,
gonna be
I
some
love
top
when
tier
fighting.
promo.
I love when like they have suggestions for fighting game characters or whatever, and then the actual in-game studios were like, "Hold on, how funny would this be if we actually add that? People would lose their fucking minds."
Oh no, and don't get me started. The sins. Okay. Eddie was dropped today
Was he?
in for
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
remember.
for basically for season, basically for fighter pass holders, he dropped today. He doesn't drop by himself until like I think I'm thinking the eighth or maybe later this later this week. But I know he's out already for fighter pass holders.
I still want
And
Anna in the game. Continue.
nah, because everybody was thinking about it too, and they're like, oh man, I wonder what characters they're gonna add as, because I know for a fact there's probably gonna be some crossover characters.
Yeah, some
I
people
remember
said Baki would be cool, and I'm like, I mean, I like Baki, so that'd be interesting to see.
mainly everyone wants to see Tifa from Final Fantasy in there.
Who?
Tifa from
Oh
Final
yeah,
Fantasy
Tifa.
Seven.
I mean, she would
Yeah,
work though, cause she's a brawler and everything, and she's an attractive female, so people would lose their goddamn minds if she was over there doing somersault kicks and shit to people.
yeah, because you got to think of the ones from Tekken Seven. Like Tekken Seven, Tekken Seven. I remember they had Noctis. They had Noctis from Final Fantasy 15. They had who else did they have? I remember they also had freaking Negan from The Walking Dead in there for some reason.
I never understood why he was in the game, but I thought it was hilarious that they added him. Like they legit just brought him in. He was like, "Oh shit, I guess
Yeah,
Negan's here too," for some reason.
yeah, yeah. For some reason, is
I mean, he
right.
was popular, I guess, at the time, so I guess it makes sense. But like even
Yeah,
then, as like a fighting game character, I was like, what was he gonna do?
yeah, because that was around the time where everybody and their mom was watching The Walking Dead.
Yeah, which is alright. See, and that's the thing too, because even when it comes to like fighting game characters, I'm like, I like when they include guest characters, but everyone always goes like, well, who should they put in next? But like, because I remember, was it like even Super Smash Bros. Everyone was like, oh, we need to put in like Goku, we need to put in like Master Chief, all these other people, and Waluigi, so. And I'm like, first of all, like you can make the argument for Waluigi, like, oh well, he would do this, this, and this for this, this, and that. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. But then you could also be like, okay, explain to me what these characters would like. Someone said Sans from Undertale at one point, and I was like, what the hell is he going to do? Because this stuff is oddly specific. I'm sure they could do something because they got Pac-Man in the game, but at the same time, it's like, how would this work exactly? Like, run this by me as a person as to how this will work, especially if you have since Sans only has 1 HP.
Yeah.
He'd be like the biggest glass cannon ever.
Exactly.
He's just a boss fight where all he does is weave your shit and then slap you around the screen. But if you can hit him one time, he just dies.
Yeah, true.
And then even with Goku, I'm like, well, here's the thing: Goku has so many. Which version of Goku? Are we talking early Goku? Are we talking end of Z Goku? Are we talking GT, not GT Goku, Super Goku? Because then everyone's gonna be like, oh wait, this is just Goku can only go Super Saiyan. How come he can't go Super Saiyan 2 or 3 or Ultra Instinct or Super Saiyan Blue? It's like, oh for fuck's sake. Because they would, I guarantee you, if they did that, they would just make it its own like custom skin, or like they would make it an alternate costume where him transforming would turn into like a slightly different form or something. Or like, because they could do that. They got Bayonetta in the game. And when they did that, I was like, okay, y'all got Bayonetta, who is, I would argue, a bit more perverse and adult oriented than someone like Dante from Devil May Cry, because Dante doesn't go around like punishing enemies like that, like Bayonetta does, and he also doesn't do those like dances and stuff. I was like, y'all got her in the game, but y'all won't give us Dante. They're basically the same character in gameplay concept. I mean,
Yeah, dude, pretty much.
but that's always something I like seeing too, because like people always go like, oh man, we need to get this character back for this game. Like I know for Tekken specifically, they want Akuma back, and they just announced was it Akuma for Street Fighter 6, and I'm sitting there thinking like, Akuma was a one-time guest character, and people are so on his nuts that he needs to be canon to the game for 8. I'm
I
like,
mean, he. I mean, he is canon.
I still well here's what bothers me about him being canon. Does that also mean that Street Fighter Cross Tekken is technically canon? Because that if that's the case, that's fucking hilarious.
I
Because I
mean,
remember all they did for the longest time was show off promotions for Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and I laughed my ass off because I loved watching those trailers when the game first came out because I was like, oh, these look so sick. You got King and Marduk against like what's his name, Hugo and Poison, and fighting all these other people. You got Law's Restaurant where these people are fighting, these people are fighting, and it looks so sick. You got Kazuya fighting Ryu and Jin fighting like M Bison. Like it looked really sick. But then they were like, "Oh, this game isn't canon because this is this." I'm like, "Okay, fine." But if Akuma's in the game, you know what that means? If they ever make another Street Fighter game, or not a Street Fighter game, if they ever make another Tekken game, they can make a Street Fighter Cross Tekken or a Tekken Cross Street Fighter because Akuma is canon, right? That means
Hmm.
Kazuya can, at some point, or Jin or any of the other people from Tekken can canonically go fight Juri, Cammy, Chun Li, Ryu, Ken, um Bison. Well, Bison's dead technically now, but like you know what I'm talking about. King could probably fight Zangief, which would be interesting. And like you could technically do crossover events constantly. Like Street Fighter 6 can pull in someone from Tekken. Tekken 8 can pull someone in for Street Fighter 6. And just and then fans would lose their fucking minds. But they probably won't do that.
Yeah, they probably won't.
They hate fun and money.
It's funny though.
It is interesting to
It,
think about.
yeah, it really is interesting. But yeah, either way though.
My thing is like I haven't played Street Fighter 6 in a minute, so I gotta jump back into it. But with Tekken, I've been somewhat consistent with my gaming for it just to like keep it going.
Yeah, same here because they've added because I want to try it out.
Well, my thing is too is like I also know for instance that like when it comes to like Tekken, if I don't play it consistently, I already know I'm gonna fall off. And second I do, I'm gonna be really, really pissed off. Because
I
again,
don't even
I was never the best Tekken player, but I felt like I've gotten better over the years.
I don't even play it like I play it like if I just feel like if I just feel like I should like go into ranked and just get pummeled, or I just go on and do that, and then play with you guys.
Yeah, but I think VR and stuff has been taking up some of my time, so that's probably why I've been like Like I said, that's why some of my other projects have been slowing down for a bit because I've been like trying out my new headset. I've been jumping back into like Dragon's Dogma and some other stuff too, and I'm just kind of like, and I'm trying to move next month. I'm getting excited for that, so I'm like, yeah. But
Yeah, I,
so many ideas to mess around with though. Like that's what gets me though. There's always so many ideas, but not enough time for them. You know.
yeah,
Ooh. Hmm. Well, I only got a few hours of work today, so I'm
yeah.
basically gonna pop in there for like 5 minutes, swing back out, and then go do other stuff.
Yeah, I'll probably be asleep. Maybe you'll catch me up tonight at midnight.
Nah, you're good. I'll see you when you're up, because more than likely I'll be up for a few hours afterwards anyway, so it's not even that big of a deal.
Yeah,
God damn it, we're supposed to be talking about fantasy games and shit. And we just went. You know what? No, we're still gonna mark this as fantasy just to like confuse the shit out of people later.
yeah, go for it.
All right. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see y'all when we see y'all. Okay. Peace.